I've just parked up in a place called Henrith Falls, and I did a video there. It's the biggest drop of any waterfall in South Wales, and I'll put a video up here for you to have a look at. But I parked here for a completely different reason. I was watching an old 1972 film called Young Winston. Now in this film, Young Winston, it shows, because it's a true story of Winston Churchill, it shows when he was on a train and he was captured in South Africa, and also later when he escaped. Now I noticed as I was watching it that the area around there looked just like the Brecon Beacons, because I've been up there so much. I then did my research and found that actually it was filmed in the Brecon Beacons. And so I am walking, I've had to get permission from the chap down there. I'm walking where the old railway was that came through here. Now look, you can see this is the sidings of the railway, and here you can see some of the walls from the old railway sidings, which is amazing. So what I'm going to try and do is follow this route, see how many of the signs I can remember from the film, and hopefully try and show you a couple of snippets of the film, just to give you an idea of what I was watching. Again, it's so obvious as you walk along this area, you can see where the train track would have snaked. Just pulled off the track a second and by a gate that had an opening, and you can just imagine as the train went through, there's the old quarry over there, but the views must have been incredible. So I've come across another little relic of the railway. There's a stream here, and it was a single carriage railway that came through here, and there's part of the old barriers there to stop them going down the side. But it's great to see some of this that's still here. As is often the case when you're going along these old railway tracks, I have to double back a little bit. I walked through there, through those woods, and over there there's some more woods, but then it got so thick I couldn't get through. Unfortunately, there is a way, but it's on farmers' land and I only get in trouble, so I have to double back and then go back and pick up the route from another area. So just parked the van there, and it's brilliant because I've just discovered, well, this is the old station that used to serve the quarry, but this station here was used in the film of Young Winston. Here's a siding for the station. Now where I'm heading down that way is where the ambush took place. So this railway was built to serve the quarry anyway, so you can see part of the industrial past around here. But over there, the gentleman was telling me that there's a house that has been used in some TV programs. I think it was in Torchwood. Now I do feel like I'm in that movie set, because I recognise these places. This here, this bridge, just through there, we're going to go under this train bridge, and it's just under there that the ambush of the train took place. I had to jump in the side to miss those horses. So just going to give you some perspective here. Just there, literally there, is the train track. Up along there I've just walked. That is where they blockaded the train track and the train was attacked. What is interesting is listening to Simon Ward. He's the man who plays Young Winston, and he was saying that one of the first scenes that they filmed for the film Young Winston was actually this scene, but for over a week they were laid up because the rain was so bad they weren't able to film, and they said it almost cost the budget of the film, that it almost didn't get made because of the rain here in Wales. Now I've just walked up the path and I can understand what he means. But now the sun's coming out, and what a place. Oh. Time for a sandwich, and I couldn't actually think of a better place to have a sandwich. I brought my drone as well, but I'm going to go further up the road. I keep looking around because there's so much of the old railway, just little bits here and there that you keep seeing. I'm going to get the camera up now as well, because there's some areas here that are just so pretty. I have to take some photos. I was thinking how I'm going to use a camera today, because I was just going to concentrate on the walk, but it's impossible when it's so nice. So I went as far as I could go, and actually I wasn't far off where I'd left it and had to drive around. But what I find interesting about this railway is the film was filmed in 1972. Now down this road, this railway track I should say, the train went round there and they were ambushed. What I find fascinating is the film was filmed in 1972, filmed in colour, and railway enthusiasts love that, because simply there is very, very little footage of many of the disused railways that were dismantled still in colour. But because it was used as part of a film, it's some of the only colour footage that they have of this railway that went on for miles and miles. Making this film has actually saved part of the railway in the fact that we can remember what it looked like in colour. So here's the railway bridge that I showed you just now, again on the cliffs up there with the Boers. Now, just to let you know about this film, it was a true story about Winston Churchill. He was in the Boer War, but he wasn't actually a combatant, he wasn't a soldier. He had been, he actually was in the last ever cavalry charge done by the British Army at Omdurman in 1898. But what is interesting is he came here as a reporter, but actually I think he was mentioned in dispatches because of what he'd done. He helped to save a few men, he got the engine moving, he played a massive part, although he was only there as a reporter. So there's a railway that went down there, and now up past there, we've been there, but we're going to go and have another look. That is where the station is. That just showed you through the lens of my camera the old pub it was. Taking a photo of that, and so now what I'm going to do, I think I might stop and take another, because as I move around the composition just looks nicer and nicer. But I'm going to walk around this quarry a little bit and pick up with the railway just further down. Just wanted to show you a bit of perspective. So the reason that the railway was built was for this. This quarry is just one of the many quarries that are around here, and what is nice now, they've been turned into areas where you can just walk. You can see behind me are the railway cottages, and the station, can you see the station in the distance? Just over there. There's part of the quarry. I'm going to meander down that way, across a footbridge, back onto the railway track, and look, I got a friend. Again, there's another part of the old railway infrastructure here. So if you look down there, you can see there is the station. Now above it you can see the old telegraph poles and the porcelain on the top that they used to have. So I'm going to tell you about this station. This station was at the point where he crosses the border from the Boer controlled land, and he goes across and he's out into freedom, and he's on the train and he's shouting, "I'm Winston Churchill and I'm free." What is interesting is that in that concentration camp that he was held, or that prison, whatever you want to call it, 3 of them escaped, but only he was the one who actually made it to freedom. And as each day went by, the reward to capture him went up and up and up. They were desperate to capture Winston Churchill. he evaded escape, obviously, and it was a miner who was British, and he worked the mines that the Boers allowed him to manage the mines. It was him who hid Winston Churchill, and it was amazing actually he knocked on that door, because all the others were Boers or Boer sympathisers, but he knocked on somebody who was a British sympathiser. And actually Winston Churchill back in Oldham met this chap's wife and told him about what he'd done. But the miner had held him in a mine deep down, and it was around by here that there was actually a mine that they filmed. I think it was Big Pit, but again here is the old train track. So I've just come up to the window of this old station, and the desk is still there, and the checking in area. Take a look. I just showed you those abandoned buildings there, and I'm guessing when you look at them they're partitioned quite small, so they must have been workers' cottages. So I'll just show you where I've been. I started my walk way over there in the distance over there, came through to the woods, had to stop, drove around, come back to there and followed. That's where the battle scene took place, you see, with the quarry. And there's the old station, and this bridge you can't walk over because apparently it's not safe, and it carries on down here, and so do I. Just look at that scenery there opening up. The views are just incredible. All along this route is the remains of the old wall. I've walked from down there, but now you can see the track curving around there, and would have went over those mountains. But the views must have been fantastic, and you imagine if that was still open, people would pay to go on a steam train across a route like this. As you see, the remains there of one of the old bridges. Just wanted to show you this. So along this track, as you walk along, you see it everywhere, and it's something that makes Wales famous, and it's this. It's coal. Can you see the coal is everywhere? You can imagine from some big lumps of coal there as well. So you can imagine, can't you, feeding the boilers of the old steam trains. Actually, they could have been carrying coal at the same time as well to some of these places, although this was a stone quarry, carrying coal there as well to feed the boilers, etc., and the machinery. And there it is, black gold. It doesn't look much now, but look, another bit of the old remnant, bit of the old railway line there. And look at that for a piece of gold. So I just found this tunnel here that goes over the railway at the top here for the stream, and it's nice to see, look, some of the old sleepers are still there. I'm at a point now where I'm going to stop. The railway track goes on and on through the mountains, and it's just too far to walk this time. What I might do is pick it up another time. There's a road down there, and walk a bit more of it. I'm now going to head back and get the drone up and get a bit of footage of this area as well. So I'm near my destination now. Lovely old railway sidings here we're going through. There's the old bridge. Just beyond that is a van, and that's taking me home. I had a nice long walk today, but it's been, although overcast, really warm, so enjoyed it immensely. Hope you've enjoyed it too. If you have, don't forget, like and subscribe. So just before I got back to the van, I just found this, which is an old weighing bridge. Got the tracks in it, but of the whole walk that I've done, you can see this railway track, which I feel I must touch. Yeah, imagine the trains that have gone across there. Well, that's the only bit of track, apart from something I saw stuck in the ground, that I've seen still in place.